Special thanks are also due today to members of Boy Scout Troop 75 and 76 of Lincoln who are with us today. Special thanks to the landscape work done by these at this site who filled in the holes that were breaking people's legs in times past. Scoutmaster is Teddy Reed, I think, Steve Lundvorsky, and Terry Carpenter. Also thanks to David Richardson for recognizing the needs. We need to give also thanks to Eagle Scouts Russell Putman of Troop 28 for his work on the amphitheater next to the cabin and who raised new bed herb gardens created for the cabin. We also like to give thanks to Dave Punch for the use of his golf cart at this event. Greetings today. Our first one will be given by George Strunk, Vice President General of South Atlantic District. George?
Good morning, Ben, and welcome everyone to this wonderful event. On behalf of President General C. Bruce Pickett, I bring you greetings from all the members of the National Society Sons of the American Revolution, and we look forward to returning to this, what soon will become the preeminent national event in North Carolina. Thank you very much. If you missed the gala last night, put that on your calendars for next year, the day before. Thank you.
Very much.
How many of us were there last night for our, looks like a good group, yes. I know that there was, I think, 110 tickets sold for that event, and it looks like most of them came today. Sam Powell, Treasurer of North Carolina Society of SAR. Sam?
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency. I'm Sam Powell, past State President and Vice President General for the South Atlantic District, and would like this morning to bring greetings for our current State President, Steve Van Pelt, who is traveling in Europe. I want to extend a thank you to the North Carolina Society, SAR and DAR, President Ben Setzer, the Catawba Valley Chapter, SAR, Lincoln County Historical Association, and all of those who have been involved in supporting today's event. I'm pleased to join with you today as we honor the memory of the Patriots, General Griffith Rutherford, Colonel Francis Locke, Captain John Hardin, Captain John Dickey, and other members of the American Patriot Militia who fought here on June the 20th of 1780. Neither side, Tory or Whig, at this battle wore military uniforms. The only identification of which side you were on was that the Tories, or the Loyalists, wore a green pine twig in their hats, and the Whigs, or the Patriots, wore a piece of paper or flag in theirs. I wear a white flag in my hat today in honor of the Patriots. The war in the South went badly for the Patriots in 1780. On May the 12th, with the fall of Charleston and 3,000 casualties, May the 29th, Buford's Massacre, August the 16th, Horatio Gates lost an army there at Camden with another 2,000 men. And then the turnaround here on June the 20th at Ramsour's Mill, where there were some 1,300 loyalists. And then again, October the 7th at Kings Mountain, where there were 1,100 loyalists. The result, the effect of the battle on the British from Ramsour's Mill and Kings Mountain was equal to the effort. It was a major victory for the Patriots, and one that cost Cornwallis dearly in his attempt to recruit and train the loyalist ranks of his army. It was a stunning and unexpected blow to the British General Charles Cornwallis. And these two victories over the British recruiting efforts in the South deprived the British of their ability to maintain their military might. It was a war of attrition. As a result, forcing a British retreat to Yorktown, where on October the 19th, the British Army surrendered to George Washington's American Army. Had the British been able to win their desired victory in their Southern campaign and effectively recruit from the Southern colonies, the outcome of the war in favor of America is doubtful. Today, we honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice in the cause of freedom, their last full measure of devotion. We remember their courage and determination, and we honor them for their sacrifices. We also hope to keep alive and pass on their story to future generations. Thank each of you for joining with us today in remembrance of those who fought and died here at the Battle of Ramsour's Mill in June of 1780, 243 years ago at this location. Thank you.
Next would be Fran Goins, Regent, Jacob Forney Chapter, NCDAR, who has been instrumental in helping us put this on.
Thank you, kind sir. Welcome.
Speak into the microphone.
It is an honor and a privilege to be here before you today. I am a direct descendant of Christian Reinhardt and of Jacob Forney, so it seems to me like we're celebrating family today and remembering the choices and the decisions that they had to make 243 years ago. I stand here feeling 243 years old after the gala last night, but I am so honored to be here. Ben, thank you for your hard work, and hopefully somebody just said there'd be a gala next year, so guess what? There'll be a gala next year.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Bada boom, bada bing. And the program will be as long as it was this year, so just come prepared. Thank you very much for being here.
Is the Mayor Pro Tem with us today? Martin Eady? No? Well, it is my pleasure to introduce to you today's speaker, Bill Anderson, a local historian who actually will put on a tour of the battleground after this is over, if you would like to join in. Please.
It's a great honor to speak to you today. My family has deep roots in Tryon and now Lincoln counties. It's a pleasure to be here. All the planners of this event should be commended for the wonderful occasion, both last night and today. In this talk, I'm reminded that talks in the past honored specific soldiers who participated in the Battle of Ramsour's Mill. I will plan a similar subject, but also I want to focus on the families affected. How many of you in the audience have a relative who participated in the Battle of Ramsour's Mill, either directly or indirectly? Just curious as a show of hands. Appears to be about 10-15%. Thank you. A wartime death in a family also changes its members' lives forever. It's tragic. Obviously, I can't cover all those who died in this battle, so I'll mention only just a few representative families. For each of these mentioned, there are 100 others. At the end, I'll tie these stories together in a way that's relevant to today. The Battle of Ramsour's Mill was late in the American Revolution. The war started in April of 1775 at Lexington and Concord Bridge in Massachusetts. Here in North Carolina, most residents quickly rallied to the support of the Patriots. In August of 1775, Tryon County proclaimed its famous Tryon County Resolves. Among the signers were Moses Moore, Thomas Espy, Jacob Forney, Jacob Cosner, Samuel Carpenter, and many more. During 1776, there was a common response to the threat from the British invasion off the coast of South Carolina and North Carolina. Likewise, in September of 1776, there was a common response to the Indian attack on the frontier that led to the Rutherford campaign. However, after the Declaration of Independence in 1776, the North Carolina Constitution was created in November of that year. The North Carolina government was controlled by the Whigs, who consolidated their political power. For the most part, Loyalists were left out of the government. In April of 1779, Tryon County was subdivided into Lincoln County and Rutherford County. Communities became divided, neighbor versus neighbor. Even within families, Lincoln County was particularly divided. For example, in the Plunk family, elderly Plunk Jacob, who had migrated from Germany, was a loyalist, while his son Jacob Jr. was a patriot militiaman. Both of these are buried about 4 miles from here. By the end of 1778, the American Revolution in the North had reached a stalemate. The British planners devised what they call the Southern Strategy. That was to attack the South and solicit support from disaffected Loyalists. In May of 1780, the British captured Charleston. They quickly established outposts in upstate South Carolina as near as Camden. Lieutenant Colonel John Moore from Tryon County was an officer in the North Carolina Royal Regiment. He was sent to Tryon County to instruct the Loyalists how to react to Cornwallis's expected invasion of North Carolina. Moore returned to his father's house, Moses Moore's home on Indian Creek. That's about 7 miles from here. Loyalists assembled at Ramsour's Mill, a well-known site. Earlier, Dietrich Ramsour and his 3 sons, John, David, and Jacob, all migrated from Pennsylvania to North Carolina. In about 1771, they built a grist mill on Clark Creek, just below us here, on a tributary of the South Fork River that became a well-known local site in this region. Graves of the Ramsours and the Reinhardt families are about a half a mile on the opposite side of Clark Creek. Among the Loyalists who joined was Peter Cosner, age 43. By the 13th of June, 200 Loyalists had assembled. Major Nicholas Welch arrived with gold specie to encourage recruitment for the North Carolina Royal Regiment. Meanwhile, in Mecklenburg County, Patriot Brigadier General Griffith Rutherford was concerned of a British invasion coming up from Camden. On the 14th, Rutherford ordered Colonel Francis Locke from Rowan County to attack the Loyalists at Ramsour's Mill. By the 18th of June, the number of Loyalists had increased from 200 to 1,300 at this site. 25% were unarmed. Apparently, some of these Loyalists apprehended 3 Espy brothers, Thomas, Samuel, and John, and held them captive here at Ramsour's Mill. On the 18th of June, British threat from Camden temporarily diminished, and Rutherford moved his force of 800 men to Tuckasegee Ford on the Catawba River. He sent an express message to Locke ordering him to join at Dixon's Plantation, also near Tuckasegee Ford. However, that message was not delivered. It was lost. On the 19th of June, Locke, acting on his earlier standing order, decided to attack and sent a message to Rutherford that was his plan. During the night, Rutherford received that message and immediately started marching towards Ramsour's mill, 16 miles away. On the morning of the 20th of June, Locke attacked loyalists on this hill. At first, he probably did not realize that his 400 men were contending with 1,300 loyalists. In the first attack, Captain John Sloan was killed. He was from Snow Creek area of Rowan County, now Iredell County. Loyalists were pushed off the hill and escaped across Clark Creek, some traversing the Mill Pond Dam. Within 2 hours, Rutherford's larger force of 800 arrived. He directed Colonel William Richardson Davie to disperse the remaining loyalists on the opposite side of Clark Creek. In this battle, 70 men died. About 40 were patriots. They're all believed to be buried in the mass grave or in the captain's grave on the opposite side of the hill. Among those killed was Peter Cosner, the man I mentioned before, age 43. Of the men who lost their lives, many families were devastated. All wars are horrible events. Death is random and arbitrary. Many innocents are harmed. Families are ruined. Yet despite these sufferings, in the case of the American Revolution, some principles were institutionalized, including liberty, independence, God-given rights, limited government, balance of power, freedom of religion and speech, and property rights. After the American Revolution, there was retribution. Those who apprehended the Espy brothers had their property confiscated. But in the end, some reconciliation did take place. I mentioned the following families' names: Moore, Plunk, Ramsour, Cosner, Espy, and Sloan. There are many more. Among those families, grandchildren intermarried. One humorous example is Thomas Espy, who took to court and sued Jacob Plunk for trespassing, yet their grandchildren married. No doubt there are many of you who have both patriot and loyalist ancestors who participated in the battle. That ends my presentation, yet if you're interested, after this event, at an appropriate pause, we'll have a battlefield tour which will end at the original site of Ramsour's mill. Each year since 2017, I've been asked to conduct these tours. It's a result of an intensive study conducted that year by the South Carolina Battlefield Preservation Trust. It breaks the battle down into 8 phases on 8 maps, and those will be displayed on the posters behind me. The tour ends at the actual Ramsour site, and the time will be starting here immediately after, well, with an appropriate pause, maybe 10-15 minutes after this event closes. And then later today there will be tours at 2:30, 4:30, beginning at the Reinhardt cabin, and tomorrow at 1 o'clock, also beginning at the Reinhardt cabin. Thank you kindly. Thank you very much.
Now, Bill, don't go far here. As you heard, Bill has been doing this tour since 2017, and nobody notices him for anything. So, Bill, let me present you with a certificate of appreciation for supporting this event for so many years. Thank you, sir. This afternoon, we will be pleased to have General George Washington offer a word or two.
Yay.
It's my great pleasure to be in your company today. As you well know, I was not present at this battle. I did not even pass this way when in 1791 I toured through the southern states. But walking amongst you, both last night and today, I can tell you that while I had no cousins that were here, not parents that were here or children that were here, I can see that I had brothers that were here. And it's very much so remembering those who would step forward and risk all, that I am proud to stand amongst you today.
We will begin our wreath presentation. Please, if you have a wreath to present, there are quite a few, so be ready. Our first wreath presentation, Scott Collins, National Color Guard Vice Commander. Darrell Addington, National Treasurer General. George Strunk, Vice President, South Atlantic General. One of my many members and one of the most active that I have in my chapter, Roy Lightfoot, chapter secretary. Chaplain, color guard.
Whatever Ben wants.
Sam Powell, past North Carolina President and current State Treasurer, Alamance Battle Chapter. John Neath, President, Battle of Kings Mountain Chapter. Fred Learned, past North Carolina President and Batavia Chapter. Did Fred not make it this morning? Yeah, okay. Gregory Connor and John Elliott, Marquis de Lafayette Chapter. Robert Crum, President, Colonel Daniel Boone Chapter. Steve Green, President, Blue Ridge Chapter. Didn't make it today? Oh. Raymond Cobb, Chapter First Vice President, Button Gwinnett Chapter, Georgia. David Owls, President, Old North State Chapter. Has any SAR chapter been missed? We have, give me your name.
John Meisenheimer.
Yeah, John Meisenheimer, Lieutenant Colonel. John Pfeiffer Chapter. Anyone else? Why didn't I get you on that? Big name.
Colonel Alexander Irwin Chapter, Kevin Allen.
Kevin Allen, Colonel Alexander Irwin Chapter. Bob Rigg, New Bern Chapter. Ray Maxim, Mecklenburg Chapter. Colonel George Waller Chapter, Virginia. Has any SAR chapter been missed? Fran Goins, Regent. Jacob Forney Chapter, DAR. Sylvia Medford, First Vice Regent, and Rebecca Heacock, historian of Quaker Meadows Chapter, along with her 22-month-old granddaughter, Rose Rebecca Heacock, is portraying her fifth great-grandmother, Grace Greenlee Bowman McDowell, and her daughter Polly today. Grace Greenlee's first husband, John Bowman, was killed here at this battle of Ramsour's Mill and is buried in the mass grave. Grace, hearing of his mortal wound, rode horseback, cradling her infant daughter Polly in her arms for 2 days from their home in what is now Morganton to the site of the battle, to nurse her wounded husband until his death. For her service in rendering material aid to the militia, she has been recognized as a DAR patriot. After his death, she penned the poem, which is now held in the NC State Archives. Like the sun rising in the morn, he went away and left me forlorn. Laura, Mecklenburg Chapter, 3rd Vice Regent. Judy Green, Rebecca Stillwell, DAR. Rebecca Severe Waddell? Okay.
Connie Newell, Regent, Piedmont Patriots Chapter.
Connie Newell, Regent, Piedmont Patriots Chapter. Halifax Convention, Charlotte. Any other DAR? Abby Page, North Carolina State President, Children of the American Revolution. Will Barton, National Ethics Committee Chair and NC Recording Secretary, past President of Grace Greenlee Chapter, CAR, and a member of my chapter. Leah Salazar, State Treasurer, Colonel Adam Alexander Chapter, North Carolina, CAR. Has any CAR chapter been missed? As we end this, we will have compatriot John Klein of Catawba Valley Chapter of NC Sons of the American Revolution will offer our recessional. Johnny? There you go.
Until we meet again, let us remember our obligation to our forefathers who gave us the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, an independent Supreme Court, and a nation of free men.
Color Guard Commander.
Color Guard, take care. Militia, take care. Color Guard, shoulder, firelock. Color Guard, mark time, mark. At the half step, forward, mark. Color Guard, mark time, mark. Color Guard, halt. Militia, left, right. Color Guard, left, right. Prepare to retrieve colors. Retrieve colors. Order colors. Militia, present on. Prime and load. Militia, make ready. Take aim. Fire. Prime and load. Make ready. Take aim. Fire. Prime and load. Make ready. Take aim. Fire. Order. Firelocks. Order. Colors. Militia. Left. Face. Color Guard. Right. Face. Shoulder. Firelocks. Keep moving to me. Color Guard, march on mark. Color Guard, halt. Left, face.
I decided here 4 years ago at this event, at the conclusion, I will call attention to one of those little-known heroes. The patriots that I have drawn attention to in the past have been obscure in nature, basically because of being either black, foreign, or female. May I introduce to you this day Linda Drum, one of the unsung heroes of the war and a brave woman. General George Washington maintained a large spy network, including members of a number of British-occupied agents in Philadelphia. Linda became one of those spies. Lydia Barrington was born 1728 in Dublin, Ireland. She married the family's tutor, William Drawn, in 1753, and soon thereafter immigrated to Philadelphia, where William worked as a tutor and Lydia as a midwife. In September 26, 1777, British troops occupied Philadelphia. General William Howe moved across the street from the Drawns in a house formerly belonging to John Codwater. Drawn began regularly providing her son Charles with information regarding the enemy's plans. Gathered by eavesdropping in her home and around town, she would often write this information in a simple code on a piece of scrap paper, which she hid in large buttons that she and the messenger wore. You may be seated, please. On September 27, 1777, Major John Andre, aide to General Howe, requested the use of the Drawns' home for Howe's staff. On the night of December 2nd, 1777, a British officer had commandeered one of her rooms for a secret conference. The family received a request that they retire early by 8 o'clock. She was told that she would be wakened when the soldiers were finished so she could let them out. Lydia eavesdropped on their meeting, learning of their plans to go against Washington's army at White Marsh. Lydia decided not to share this information with her husband. On December 4th, she requested and received a pass to leave the city to go to Frankfurt Mill to buy flour. Once outside the city, she made her way toward the Continental Line at White Marsh. On the road, she met a friend, Colonel Thomas Craig from Washington's army. Lydia passed this information of the impending British attack through him, got her flour, and headed back to Philadelphia. That night, the British marched on White Marsh. Instead of the ambush that they had planned, the Continental Army was at arms and ready. General Howe was forced back to Philadelphia. In June of 1778, British troops left Philadelphia, and the Drawns and their children returned to their home. William Drawn, Lydia's husband, died on June 8, 1783. Lydia and the children moved into a new house. She ran a store until her death in December of 1789. They're both buried in the Quaker burying ground at 4th and Arch Street, not far from her home. In 2013, the National Society of the Sons of the American Revolution created the Lydia Drawn Medal. This medal may be awarded by the incumbent President General, Vice President General, State Society President, or Chapter President to the lady who has provided significant service to him during his term in office. This medal recognizes the assistance of the woman who worked behind the scenes supporting the DAR program, the SAR programs. Today I have the pleasure to present this medal to Fran Goins, Regent of Jacob Forty Chapter of DAR. Fran, where are you? It is my pleasure to present you this medal for helping me and this chapter in all that we do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very touched. Thank you.
We have we had to change things a little bit. Compatriot Kevin Alec will offer our benediction.
Please stand. Gracious Father, thank you for making this day successful. As we depart, we ask you to be with us. May your Spirit go with us and keep us in our journey home. Thank you for your strength and hope. We thank you for this wonderful time that we have shared. May we honor you in everything we do. Amen.
Push the button, yeah?
That's right. We're going to be with Mrs. Washington. Oh, well, we'll put that right there. Yes, Mrs.
Yeah, come on in.
Isn't that cool?